It's Friday, May 16th. Here's what we're working on this morning. The Ontario government has tabled a budget focused on investments.
A case of measles has been confirmed in a person visiting Hamilton earlier this month.
And nerves. It's a must-win for the Leafs tonight. Good morning and thanks so much.
Morning.
Wow, we have had an eventful morning. We've had power outages here at the station because of a huge thunderstorm that rolled by.
Oh, it's still rolling by. A lot of areas are still getting some heavy downpours. And did I get everything ready in
Power
time?
bumps again.
There were some big time clappers out there.
Yes,
There really were. I've been sitting here in the weather center in the dark for what was at least a half an hour going, am I going to have my graphics ready? I don't know.
Are we going to have a show? But
yes,
here we are.
Here we are. We made it. Let's get into a Friday here, the 16th of May. And yes, we've had an explosive start to the morning. Some areas have power outages. We have, as you can see, or I use that loosely once again, reduced visibility here this morning. So we have a line of thunderstorms going through, with some heavy downpours associated with it. We're actually sitting at 16 degrees right now, so it's a mild start. We're going to hit 27 degrees. The good news is this line of showers and thunderstorms is going to go through this morning, and then we're going to start to see some clearing. So we'll get some sunshine as the day progresses. A warm day today. We should hit 27 with a humidex of 30, so it's going to be warmer. And then we're looking at, again, more instability for tonight into tomorrow, and we'll talk about that coming up. All right, quick check on the roads this morning. 403 Waterdown Road. Yeah, visibility is poor right there, but no reports of collisions at the moment. Go to some MTO traffic cameras. QEW Red Hill Creek looks good right there. Sun is up, of course. Very foggy, top of the Burlington Skyway Bridge, but traffic is moving nicely. And the QEW Appleby line, Toronto bound towards us. Not a lot right there either. So we have wet roads this morning. Still some heavy downpours, and with the precipitation that we have had, there could be some pretty good sized puddles out there, pooling and ponding, as we say. Be careful. We'll look at weather and traffic coming up right now. The news.
Okay, thanks very much, Brian. Well, the Ontario government's latest budget has billions of dollars for investments it says will protect workers from U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs.
The economy of tomorrow is at the door, and I'm here to tell you that our government is ready to answer that call.
That's Finance Minister Peter Bethlenfalvy. He says every spending decision in this budget was made with tariffs in mind. The budget includes $11 billion in supports for businesses and workers affected by tariffs, including $5 billion for a Protect Ontario account. The province says the account will provide relief to businesses that have exhausted other funding options, though it offered few details on how it's going to work. Some budget aspects had already been announced, including a permanent gas freeze tax and the removal of tolls on the eastern provincially owned portion of the 407. The budget also includes plans to lower prices on beer, cider, and ready-to-drink cocktails by cutting LCBO markups, even though the agency reported a $300 million loss since convenience stores started selling alcohol. Increases for healthcare and education spending, though, in this budget are minimal, and that's drawn a lot of criticism from the opposition.
And for families wondering how they make ends meet this summer, for overworked healthcare or education workers, or for auto workers who are worried about their livelihoods, this budget delivers little hope and no reassurance.
Why the emphasis on putting money back into people's pocket to buy beer and alcohol, making it cheaper for them? That money needs to go into healthcare and education.
Now, the government is projecting a $6 billion deficit in the 2024-25 fiscal year, expected to jump to $14.6 billion next year. The province says they can balance the budget by 2027-28. The budget also outlines a $50 million investment over 3 years to expand interprovincial trade. And the province is already working on this, with Premier Doug Ford and Manitoba's Premier Wab Kinew signing an interprovincial trade agreement earlier this week.
Canadian Tire says it will pay $30 million for Hudson's Bay's intellectual property. The sale includes the Bay's overarching brand, like its iconic multicolored stripes motif, its coat of arms, and other brand trademarks. A source familiar with the deal says it allows Canadian Tire to sell products under these names. The box store retailer already owns 1,700 retail outlets, including Sport Chek, Party City, Marks, and Pro Hockey Life.
There has been a measles exposure in Hamilton. Hamilton Public Health says it may have occurred the night of Friday, May 2nd at Chima Enoteca restaurant on Locke Street, and Saturday night, May 3rd at First Ontario Centre Concert Hall. Anyone who is at either of these locations is asked to monitor symptoms that include a high fever or red blotchy rash, a cough, and watery eyes. Public Health says the exposures come from a confirmed case of the highly contagious infection from someone visiting Hamilton. Now, infants, pregnant people, and anyone with a weakened immune system are at an increased risk of complication from measles. Across Ontario, another 182 cases were confirmed last week alone. That brings the total number of measles cases in Ontario to more than 1,600 since an outbreak started last fall.
4 teens have been arrested on Hamilton's East Mountain after being caught in a stolen speeding car. Hamilton police say it happened Wednesday night at around 8:30 on Upper Gauge near East 44th Street. Police boxed in the vehicle and arrested 3 of the teens. Another ran off but was caught after a short chase. Police say they found a can of bear spray in the car's driver's side door. The teens range in age from 14 to 17. All 4 are charged with possession of stolen property and possession of a prohibited weapon.
45-year-old Hamilton woman has been arrested after a series of hate-motivated assaults. Police say the incidents took place Monday and Tuesday in the Stony Creek area. During the assaults, a female attacker was heard uttering anti-black hate speech. The victims range from 14 to 24, and one of them had to be treated for a minor injury. Well, a very special celebration is going to be held this afternoon for a member of the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders of Canada. Lieutenant Corporal Tony Mastromateo of the Hamilton Regiment turns 104 today. He is the last known remaining Second World War Argyll veteran. His family and the Argylls have a special birthday celebration for him today in Toronto. Lieutenant Corporal Mastromateo will be presented with a ceremonial challenge coin to honor what the regiment describes as their most experienced Argyll. Happy 104th birthday, sir, and thank you for your service. Well, NFL owners will talk about a proposal to allow players under contract to take part in flag football when the sport makes its Olympic debut in the 2028 Olympics in LA. The league had released a proposed resolution on the issue that will be considered next week by owners at the spring meetings in Minnesota. If it's approved by at least 24 of the 32 team owners, the league would be allowed to negotiate with the NFL Players Association, Olympic officials, and national governing bodies on the specifics of letting NFL players take part.
And that brings us to sports time, and the President's Trophy winning Jets have avoided elimination, sending their Western Conference semifinal series against the Stars back to Dallas.
Off the draw, Velarde in the corner with it. Off the boards for Scheifele. Scheifele, Parsons pass for Connor. Ehlers in front, scores!
Connor Hellebuck made 22 saves, and Nikolai Ehlers scored 2 goals to lead Winnipeg to a 4-0 victory over the Stars. Mark Scheifele and Vladislav Nemestikov also scored on Dallas netminder Jake Ottinger, who stopped 31 shots. Stars captain Jamie Benn sucker punched Scheifele during a scrum late in the game. Benn was given a misconduct penalty. He could face a suspension for Game 6 tomorrow night in Big D. Andrei Svechnikov scored the winning goal with 1:59 left to play to lead Carolina to a 3-1 win over the Capitals. The win sends the Hurricanes to the Eastern Conference Final for the second time in 3 years. Canes captain Jordan Staal scored his first goal of the playoffs, and Freddie Anderson needed to make just 18 saves in the win. The loss ends a terrific season in Washington, where captain Alex Ovechkin passed Wayne Gretzky as hockey's greatest goal scorer. Maple Leafs must win tonight in Florida to keep their Stanley Cup playoff hopes alive. After winning the first 2 games against the Panthers, Toronto has lost the last 3, including an embarrassing 6-1 defeat on Wednesday. Leafs blue liner Morgan Rielly knows what's at stake.
Ultimately, it's up to our group to go out there and execute and play as though your season's on the line.
If the Leafs manage to beat Florida, it would set up a winner-take-all Game 7 on Sunday in Toronto. The London Knights are going back to the Memorial Cup. They beat Oshawa 5-2 last night in London to win the OHL championship in 5 games. Kasper Holttunen scored twice for the Knights and was named playoff MVP after scoring 15 goals, including 9 in the final, and added 6 assists. The 19-year-old Finn is the first import player in league history to earn the honor. The Knights now head to Rimouski for the Memorial Cup, which starts May 22nd. The Thunder and Nuggets are going to a Game 7. Kitchener's Jamal Murray was not feeling well last night, but he certainly played well, scoring 25 points to power Denver to a 119-107 win over Oklahoma City. Hamilton's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander led the Thunder with a game-high 32 points. The two teams have played against each other 10 times this season. Each has won 5. The tie will be broken in Game 7 Sunday in Oklahoma City.
Now Brandon Lau. Way up into the air to right. And 2 batters in. The Rays lead 2-0.
Brandon Lau homered in the first inning and went deep again in the 9th as the Rays took 2 of 3 games at the Dome, blasting the Blue Jays 8-3 yesterday afternoon. Kevin Gausman coughed up 6 runs on 10 hits in 5 2/3 innings and struck out 6. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Addison Barger homered for Toronto, who open a 3-game series tonight against the visiting Detroit Tigers.
Coming up on 6:12 and what has been an explosive Friday morning here, 16th of May. The fog is getting a little bit thicker now. We're still getting some light rain shower activity, so be really careful on the roads this morning. And there could still be some heavy downpours in the area as you push towards the east. I'll explain that coming up. Looking at traffic this morning, or trying to look at traffic on this camera, 403 and Waterdown Road. You can see we've got raindrops on the camera. We've got poor visibility right here. There's no problems with traffic, though. To some MTO traffic cameras, QEW Highway 406, just wet roads to contend with. Red Hill Creek, Toronto-bound lanes heading away from us. Here's a look north of 2. Now, when they say north, you're going past North Shore Boulevard, heading toward Fairview, coming off the Skyway Bridge. East of Royal Windsor, that's right around the Ford plant. Looks good. 427 Gardner QEW combination. Not a lot to see there, except, of course, for the wet roads. Now, this line of showers and thunderstorms is progressing from west to east, so Toronto is now seeing some heavier downpours at the moment. All right, let's get to our temperature. Temperature right now, at last check, is 16 degrees. We've had that shower thunderstorm scenario. It is tapering off in the Hamilton area right now. It was really heavy at about 4 to 4:30 to 5 o'clock this morning, just rumbling through. Humidity's up there. Winds are light north of 10. For school today, there's that shower thunderstorm scenario early this morning, and then the skies are going to begin to clear. And actually, that clearing trend could begin this morning. 27-degree high, feeling like 30, bit of a southwest wind for the day today. No problems for air quality in the low risk category. There's that line of precipitation. Now this is a 6-hour loop, and so it just keeps repeating. You can see how the showers, the heavy downpours, are the brighter colors in there, moving from west to east. So pushing out of the Hamilton area in toward Toronto and parts east. This is one casualty of our power outage this morning. We've lost our satellite and radar, but you can see what's happening is we have a warm front, cold front scenario, not only for today, but tomorrow as well. So today, temperatures 24, 25 for Niagara, 27 for Hamilton, Halton into Toronto, humidex of 30 for the day today, but we'll kick away the showers and thunderstorms and we'll get into some sunshine later on. Tonight, the showers, thunderstorms redevelop. We could have 15 millimeters overnight tonight, temperatures 12, 13, and 14. And then tomorrow, another 15 millimeters. It's going to be a wet start to our Victoria Day weekend. Temperatures a bit cooler, 19 and 20 degrees for tomorrow. But yeah, again, fairly cloudy with showers and possible thunderstorms for the day tomorrow. So out the door, 16th morning of May, we've had an explosive start. It's pushing away from us, but still some thunderstorms, some rain. Temperature right now sitting at 16. And we'll look long range coming up. Annette, Rick.
Okay, thanks very much. Well, short range right after the break, we're going to say good morning to Emily with a preview of what she has in Chit Chat. Also in business news, the United Nations is forecasting slower economic growth around the world this year because of Donald Trump's trade policies. Good morning. It is 6:17. We're going to say good morning to Emily. What you got coming up in Chit Chat?
Hi. A popular soap opera that airs right here on CHCH has been renewed for a second season.
And I understand there's some big changes, like a character change.
Yeah, and you know, they do that often in soaps. And if you are like a true fan, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's not the same actor.
That's not who it's supposed to be.
I used to be a big soap opera consumer back in the day.
Really?
And
Like
when they
what soap?
changed Days of Our Lives.
Okay.
And when they changed characters, you're like, no! And then you fall in love with the new character.
Yes.
It's true. It can be disheartening. But yeah,
Yes.
we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Dearest gentle reader, Benedict's long-awaited love story is about to unfold in Bridgerton Season 4.
Oh.
Speaking of soap operas, which I don't watch, but I feel like I should be because this looks steamy. And the American Music Awards have announced their lineup of performers, including, I may have a bit of a crush on him, but we'll reveal.
Okay, we will find out. Thanks very much, Emily. Okay, in business news, the Canadian dollar this morning in overseas trading is up 9 basis points at 71.67 cents U.S. Gold is down nearly $17 an ounce. Crude oil is down 4 cents to $16.58 a barrel. Midday trading in Europe and markets are up across the board with triple-digit gains in Germany.
Over in Asia, markets were down in Tokyo, Hong Kong, and Shanghai. And in North American markets, the TSX gained over 200 points, continuing its upward swing yesterday, lifted higher by good performances from the telecommunication, industrial, and utility sectors. The Dow added nearly 300, and the Nasdaq closed 34 points lower.
Well, the United Nations is warning of growing threats to the global economy. A UN report says rising tariffs from the United States are pushing up production costs and disrupting supply chains, increasing financial instability. And because of that, companies around the world are delaying or cutting back on their investments. Global gross domestic product, or GDP, is now forecast at 2.4%. That's down from 2.9% last year. And the United States is expected to be hit the hardest, with growth expected to slow as well in China, Brazil, Mexico, and South Africa.
There's a flurry of activity across Chinese factories and ports. American and Chinese companies are rushing to make the most of the 90-day tariff pause. Bookings for shipping containers from China to the U.S. have spiked almost 300%, according to container tracking software provider Vision. Meanwhile, multiple Chinese media outlets have reported that suppliers are working overtime to meet the surging demand from U.S. companies looking to restart their orders. The United States and China announced the tariff rollback on Monday. The U.S. lowered tariffs on Chinese goods from 145 to 30%. Meanwhile, China cut levies on U.S. imports from 125 to 10%. The pause is for an initial 90 days as negotiations for a permanent deal continue.
Well, the long weekend coming up is when gas prices tend to start leveling off ahead of the high-demand summer driving season. However, Roger McKnight, the chief petroleum analyst with Enpro International, says the Trump factor may throw long-held expectations about gas price behavior out the window. McKnight says in January and February, refineries go down for maintenance to switch over to producing summer fuels, raising prices until they peak around mid-April. What consumers see at the pump now might be what they get for the warmer months, but McKnight says U.S. President Donald Trump's musings on tariffs and geopolitical issues may jolt the market.
Well, taking a break right now, Brian is going to be back with traffic and your 7-day forecast. Stay with us.
It is Friday. We made it. And a long weekend coming up. And we'll check the forecast for that in a sec. But 6:24 now, looking at our MTO traffic cameras, QEW 405s, just some raindrops, of course, as you can see, wet roads, but no volume. Now, this is interesting. The top of the Burlington Skyway Bridge, we checked this shot a while ago. You could hardly see anything, but the fog is lifting a little bit here, but it's getting pretty thick in other areas. Appleby line, no problems with traffic. Lauren Park looks good. We'll dip into the 403 403-407 split going through Mississauga. Nothing on the roads this morning. There is some thick, patchy fog at the moment, like outside our studios. It is so thick we can hardly see into the parking lot. So be careful this morning. Our temperature has just dipped a little bit now. We're now in Hamilton sitting at 15, same for Mississauga, 14 for Grimsby and for Toronto. So seasonals, again, this time of year are 19 for the daytime high. Beat that yesterday. We're going to hit 8 is an overnight low is what we think. Those are our sun times and records for today. Fairly unsettled this morning. Going into school, it'll still be fairly cloudy. At least we'll lose the precipitation. 19 for the first bell, 27, and the skies are going to begin to clear as the day goes on, so it should be fairly sunny. So 27 is the high. It'll feel like 30 today with factor in the humidity, but we'll get that clearing trend. Then tonight, again, showers, thunderstorms will redevelop, stick around. 15 millimeters not only tomorrow, but overnight tonight as well, so going to be fairly wet. Finally, into Sunday, we get some sunshine coming back, 18. Sun again for holiday Monday into Tuesday. It does get cooler, below seasonal, 15 and then 16, and then cloudy and cooler for midweek next week. That's your forecast. Annette.
Okay, thanks very much. Well, here's why you won't find a baby named King in New Zealand.
It topped the list of baby names rejected by the country's Registrar General. New Zealand polices birth names under its strict registration law. And according to the law, baby names must not be offensive, unreasonably long, or include numbers or symbols. They also can't resemble official titles and ranks without adequate justification. Number 2 on the list of banned baby names is Prince. Last year, the country registered 60,000 births. 38 proposed names were rejected. Most of them had royal links. So Queen Annette would not be allowed.
Or King Rick.
No, sadly.
You mentioned before, Elon Musk could not have a baby name registered.
Impossible.
No. Okay, stay with us. We got lots more to come right after the break.